Now let's move on and create a text outline and talk about why you would outline text. Well, if you are following along with some of our earlier lessons, we learned that the Big City Pet Sitters logo was created using the font Code Pro Demo, which, as of this recording, can be downloaded from myfonts.com. Of course, you can substitute that font with any font that you wish. If we take our selection tool and let's select the text Big City, let me just go here to the character panel and you're going to see the name of the font that was used, Code Pro Demo. Well, we'll be presented with a couple of options when we send this off to the printer. Our first option, of course, is to send them the font, have them install it, and hope for the best. But a second option would be to create outlined text wherever we use that font. That takes regular text and breaks it down into Illustrator objects, and then you don't have to worry about it. Let's do that. I'm going to click away from the character panel, so that'll close. And notice that Big City is still selected. Great. Let's convert this to outlines. To do that, we'll go up to the Type menu and we'll choose Create Outlines. Well, what just happened is Illustrator took our editable regular text and now it's outlined. If we take our Zoom tool and zoom in, we can actually see that indeed we have paths and points, and this is no longer editable text. Another great thing this does is it says, okay, printer, you don't really have to worry about that font because it's outlined for you and we won't have any problems. It's a good idea sometimes to do that with any specialty fonts. That way you'll avoid any potential problems. Let's go to the View menu and go back to Fit All in Window. Grab our Selection tool and let's deselect. Okay, so now that we have regular text and we've converted text to outlines, let's wrap some text around a path. You may notice here in the inside center panel, we have an ellipse, right? Well, this is just a normal shape, but what we'll do is we will wrap some text around this shape. To do that, you can go to the Type tool, and if you hold down your mouse, you are going to see all kinds of other type tools hidden underneath here. Notice that one of those is actually called Type on a Path tool. Very handy name for what we want to do, so let's choose this guy. Now our goal is to create some type and have it wrap around this existing path. Notice that we have a special cursor. When we get close to the path, and because our smart guides are on, we see the word path. If you click one time, your cursor should cling to that path. And then all you need to do is simply select the text that you want to use, okay? So let's do that. With our circle selected, let's type call today for a free consultation. Put an exclamation point and we'll type 10% off. What Illustrator did is it took a regular shape, which was a circle or an ellipse, right? And it converted it. Now it has a different purpose. When we send our trifold to the printer, this path will not print. The only reason that we see it now is because it's being used for our text to cling onto, okay? Now, we probably need to change the font color. So where our cursor is, if you just click and drag around to select the text, we can now change the font color. If we go over to the fill color and double click, we'll get the Adobe color picker, or we can go up here to the control panel and choose one of our color swatches. Let's do that. Maybe go with this yellow since it's on a brown object. We could probably see that better. Let's go to the character panel and let's just bump up the font just a little bit. And then click away to close the character panel. Now some people ask, well, what if we need to reposition the text on a path? We can do that as well. With our direct selection tool active, when you look at the path, you're going to notice these little handles that kind of jet out. Sometimes you see these in different places. So wherever yours is, what you'll do is you'll find it and you'll click right on that little handle, and you can actually very slowly pull it around to reposition how the text flows on your path. So maybe if you want it to start from the bottom, you just kind of pull that around to the bottom, okay? Until you find just the place that you're looking for. We'll click V on our keyboard to get our regular selection tool back, and then let's deselect. Now let's create a text wrap. What a text wrap is it takes either a vector object or a bitmap object, and when you place that object over existing text, you can make the text underneath your object kind of move out of the way. You may have noticed that we have a few objects out into the scratch area. Let's grab some of those. And if we're not zoomed out exactly where we need to be, I can hold down Control and hit minus and zoom out a little more. And again, if you're on a Mac, that's Command minus. All right, so you'll see a few objects here in the scratch area. And these are some objects that we can decorate our trifold with. Not only that, but you've probably seen this already up in the top left corner, and that's just a little visual for you to be able to tell exactly how a trifold will be printed, the inside pages versus the outside pages. We don't really need that. We just added that as a learning tool. But what we do need are these guys here. Let's start by taking one of our objects, maybe this lizard, and if I take this guy and I move it over to the right and put it on the left inside panel, maybe a little ways down, I have a couple of things that are happening. Let me just zoom in very quickly to be able to see what's happening. Well, it looks like, for one, that it may be behind the text. That's the first thing that we'll address. Let's grab our selection tool, and we need to actually get the lizard on top of the text. Of course, we know that we could open the layers panel because we learned about that in a previous lesson. We could do that and we could find the lizard and pull it up in the stacking order. Here's another thing that we could do. We can actually right click on the lizard, go to Arrange, and ask Illustrator to bring it to the front. And now it's on top of the text. Again, you could have used the layers panel, and that's absolutely fine. Well, our cute lizard is definitely covering up some of our text, and again, our goal is to have the text kind of move out of the way. So, with your lizard still selected, all you need to do is go to the Object menu, and then go down to Text Wrap and choose Make. You'll notice that Illustrator took the text behind the lizard and kind of pushed it out of the way. So now if we deselect the lizard, you'll see that the text behind it simply wraps around the lizard. Now here's another thing. If we decide that we need to move the lizard down, no problem. The text behind it will automatically reflow. All right? And that's how we create a text wrap. Your text wrap could be modified by going to the Object menu and going down to Text Wrap again and choosing Text Wrap Options, and this would actually allow you to adjust the spacing or the offset that separates your text from your image. We'll click Cancel for now. And now we need to zoom back out, so we will Control minus a few times to get back out, and hold down your space bar to get your grabber hand and pull back over. There are a few other objects over here in the scratch area for us to experiment with. Why don't we do that now? We can put these anywhere you want. So maybe we'll get either our dog or our little cat. And if you want to put those over on the trifold, just simply drag and drop them wherever you think that these guys would look good. I think I'll put the cat at the top of the outside left panel, fold in, pull the text down. We may have to work with the overset text because you absolutely do not want the little red plus sign to show, because that is very problematic for printers and it will get sent back for you to fix. So it's best if we just fix that now. And let's see, we have a little vector star here. Maybe we'll just add that decoration to the middle of our text on a path. And our little dog, he can go here on the right inside panel, but we may need to reposition these elements first by pulling those down. And then our little dog will likely fit when we reposition our other elements accordingly. Let's deselect, and now we have a nice trifold brochure. We have created text on a path, we've created outline text, and also text wraps. Be sure to join us in the Photoshop chapter next to learn all kinds of cool things that Adobe Photoshop can do with raster graphics.